Okay, so you have decided to learn to code to build your passion project, or whether you want to choose it as a career. With plenty of programming languages out there, it's quite natural to get overwhelmed with the amount of choices you have. So in this video, we are going to go over top 5 languages that you might want to consider learning in 2022. And I categorize these languages based on mainly two factors. Number one, what field you might want to consider getting into, whether it's software engineering, mobile development, or data or AI. And number two, demand in the market. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Asla and I'm a software engineer based in Prague. If you're here just to know the names and ranks of these top 5 languages, I'm sure you can find it somewhere online on a blog post, or I can just tell you right now, the number 1 language is JavaScript or Python. But if you're someone like me, you probably might want to know the reasoning behind why you're choosing a specific language, and that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. And starting with number 5, we have Golang. Go or Golang is a relatively young programming language, and according to 2021 Stack Overflow survey, Golang took 3rd place in ranking programming languages that developers would like to study. And Golang was created by Google, hence it has its name derived from the brand name Google, from Go or Golang. Go was originally created to replace C++, since learning C++ is long and hard, and it has so much similarities to C, but unlike C, Go is a much more versatile programming language, and it's so much easier to learn compared to C++. Go is specifically used to develop infrastructure for network servers or tools and systems needed for developers. But it doesn't mean that it's not a general purpose programming language. It can be used for all the other general purposes like building a mobile application, graphics, or even in machine learning. Moving on, at number 4, we have REST. According to Stack Overflow, REST has been the most loved programming language for the past 5 years in a row. So REST is a statically typed low-level programming language which mainly focuses on system performance and safety. REST programming language has mainly 3 benefits: better memory safety, easier concurrency, zero cost abstractions. I know these are too technical, but if you look at the use cases, this would probably make sense. REST is used to build powerful cross-platform command line tools, distributed online services, embedded devices, and anywhere else that requires a systems programming like a browser engine or perhaps a Linux kernel. And there are already some of the operating systems that are built on REST. I'll put them up here on the screen if you feel like checking them out. Moving on to number 3, we have PHP. PHP has been the most criticized or most popular web development programming language for over a decade now. And there is this popular opinion that even though JavaScript is growing rapidly, people don't see JavaScript taking over PHP anytime soon. The main reason for that is 70 to 80% of all the websites out there are built on PHP. Even though all these new companies are leaning towards more of a full stack JavaScript route, there are tens and millions of websites that are out there built on PHP. And all these companies require PHP developers in order to maintain this legacy tech stack, or even to migrate it to a new tech stack, or even to migrate to a new PHP framework like Laravel. Laravel is an open source framework which is written in PHP, and it's relatively easier for PHP developers to pick up this framework. So if you're someone who's getting into the industry and trying to learn a new language, you might want to look into PHP and possibly pick up a framework like Laravel in order to meet this huge demand in the market and essentially be one of those advanced PHP developers. Moving on, at number 2, we have Java. Java is the most popular programming language in the world, and it's been out there for 2 decades, and for any language to be out there for that long and gain popularity every single day, it's a big deal. According to Oracle, 3 billion devices run on Java, and according to the TOP Programming Index, which updates monthly, Java has been listed as the most popular programming language. Why is it so? It's mainly because of its applications. Java is mainly used for Android apps, financial services apps, Java web applications, and trading apps. And according to Stack Overflow, Java has been the most popular web technology out there. There is this theory that, which is quite debatable, in favor of people who's learning how to code. Java lets you learn how to think like a programmer. In defense of this theory, I can definitely say that Java is a high-level programming language which follows an object-oriented programming model, and as a beginner who's learning how to code, to pick up a language like Java is definitely useful in the long run. And my personal experience with Java was I had a Java programming course in my final year at university, and I picked up the concepts of object-oriented programming using that course, and then I later moved on to Python. And when I finally got the job working with Salesforce uses Apex as its backend language, and Apex is 70 to 75% similar to Java, and it even runs on a Java engine. So it definitely helped me in the long run knowing that fundamentals of Java. Now moving on to our final and number one language on our top 5 list, JavaScript. So now this goes without saying, JavaScript has been one of the most rapidly growing languages out there over the past few years, and it's very safe to say that JavaScript is the language of the internet. And not to mix it with Java, JavaScript first appeared in 1995, created by Netscape Communications, and developers define it as a scripting or programming language that allows you to implement complex things on web pages. JavaScript makes web pages more dynamic and user interactive. And according to StackOverflow.com, JavaScript is the most popular programming language used by professional developers today. And you don't need to look further to see where JavaScript is used. Even your browser that you use every day is written in JavaScript. And JavaScript is not only limited to internet, its applications goes beyond the internet roles. It's used for smart televisions, Internet of Things, and to build the applications we use every day using modern JavaScript frameworks like React, Angular, Vue, to name many of the few JavaScript frameworks out there. So even though JavaScript is not a statically typed programming language, with the invention of TypeScript, which is a statically typed language developed by Microsoft, which is basically a superset of JavaScript, the combination of both can be really powerful, and which in turn makes knowing JavaScript more demanding. And another great thing about JavaScript is that it's really ideal for newbies to learn JavaScript, because you don't have to set up a complex development environment in order to start programming and start coding, because JavaScript is installed in all the browsers, so you can straight jump into your browser and start programming in JavaScript. So that sums up our top 5 languages that you should consider learning in 2022. And if you're someone who's already learning one of these languages that we mentioned, or you considered learning one of these languages, let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button to plus the YouTube algorithm. And until then, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.